I ask you all to cast your minds back 11 years ago to the date, to the year 2011, a year when the sun shone bright, LMFAO were party rocking all over the place, and a young little Dovahkiin was born. It was a simpler time, back when coughing and sneezing on a train were just minor inconveniences, and if you wanted a litre of petrol, it would have only cost you £1.30. What made this year stand out though? The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Hello everyone, my name's The Breath, and on November 11th, 2011, Bethesda released what is quite possibly my favourite video game of all time, and one I've definitely bought at least one too many times, most recently with the release of Skyrim's Anniversary Edition. Of course, we all know that that version was released to commemorate an entire decade of Skyrimming, so you may be wondering, why is it now that I'm choosing to delve into Skyrim content? Well, to me at least, this year is special. The game that was initially released on 11/11/11 has finally turned 11. I might be showing my autistic traits off when I say that I'm a sucker for a good pattern, and what better one than this? My idea is to celebrate the 11th anniversary of Skyrim, and to do that, I've planned for you 11 investigations spread over 11 videos taking place weekly for, you guessed it, the next 11 weeks. I'll be covering topics ranging from the Civil War to the dragons, the Dwemer to, well, you'll just have to stay and find out. I will say this now though, that these investigations aren't necessarily conclusive, nor will they be completely all-encompassing. I've chosen to try and keep the research solely to the main series Elder Scrolls games, and yeah, that's basically because I don't own the PC version of the Elder Scrolls Online. Now that doesn't mean they won't be interesting or entertaining. That'll happen because it's me making the video. But anyway, today I'm starting off with a fun one, so strap in and let's take a dive into one of the biggest mysteries the world of Skyrim practically thrusts in your face. What happened to Arniel Gane? Before we get into the investigation, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Likes help me know whether you like this style and type of content and is more likely to result in more of them in the future. Do check me out on social media, links are in the description, and without further ado, let's investigate. Arniel Gane, for anyone who isn't aware, is a Breton mage found at the College of Winterhold and is one of the most intriguing characters associated with the college, if you ask me. He plays a minor role in the college's main questline and as such can fade into the background fairly easily. At first, his demeanour and ramblings may seem akin to that of a madman, but with only a little bit of further prodding, you can kind of understand why. Arniel is a man of intrigue, a whimsical fella with a mind built for tackling the fuddling, perplexing mysteries of the world around. His ultimate aim? To explain the disappearance of the dwarves. This task isn't something that can be completed with ease, and in order to see it through, we as the player will need to follow the college main questline to completion, fighting all manner of dastardly deceased and abhorrent apparitions while discovering items, objects and creatures beyond the comprehension of the common mortal brain. While it follows the pattern of many of Skyrim's fetch quests, the one given to the player by Arniel Gane is one of the few that grips you. It leaves you wanting to know more, to observe the next stage of an experiment that, on the surface anyway, seems to be fruitless and laughable. As you will see in due course, however, this is far from the case, and the ending leaves more questions in your mouth and mind than it could ever hope to provide answers. Attempting to understand the Dwemer and their disappearance is an entire topic in itself, and one I will cover in its own video later on in this series, so I won't be diving into too much detail in this one. We'll instead be focusing on Arniel himself and what his experiments achieve. To understand what happened to Arniel Gane, it's probably a good thing to watch it for ourselves by following his quest, Arniel's Endeavour. To begin Arniel's endeavour, we must first become a student of the College of Winterhold, so let's approach the bridge.
Cross the bridge at your own peril. The way is dangerous and the gate will not open. You shall not gain entry.
Why are you out here?
I am here to assist those and if, in the process, my presence helps to deter those who might seek to do harm, so be it. The more important question is, why are you here?
May I enter the college?
Perhaps, but what is it you expect to find within?
I want to unravel the mysteries of Aetherius.
Ah, the immortal plane. It is said to be the source of all magic. This is a noble goal, indeed. It would seem that the college has what you seek. The question now is, what can you offer the college? Not just anyone is allowed inside. Those wishing to enter must show some degree of skill with magic. A small test, if you will.
Pfft, come on, Feralda. We both know I'll succeed with your little test.
No, I'm afraid I don't know anything of the sort.
Worth a go, I suppose. Fine, I'll take your test then.
Excellent. The fear spell has saved the life of many an illusion mage. If you could cast it on the seal here on the ground, that would prove your skill.
I don't know that spell.
No? Well, if you think you're capable of it, then I'd be happy to provide it to you for a mere 30 gold. Or you can try your luck with one of the court wizards around Skyrim. They also sell spells.
30 gold? Bargain. Here, for the spell.
Here you are. Now I'm anxious to see you cast it. Much knowledge lies within the college. Well done indeed. I think you'll be a superb addition to the college. Welcome, apprentice. I'll lead you across the bridge. Once you're inside, you'll want to speak with Mirabelle Irvine, our master wizard. Please, follow me.
And just like that, a little bribe gets us into the College of Winterhold. Now, what do I do? Well, to start the first stage of Arniel's endeavour, we have to have completed the initial excavation of Sarthal, diving into the depths and re-killing Uric Gulderson to death. Once we've discovered the Eye of Magnus, we can return to the college and speak to Arniel. Oh, Arniel.
I don't think anyone here truly understands how useful my work will be.
I'm pretty sure we will, but is there any college business I can assist with?
You mean the official sort of business? Well, no. No, not really. But I can't help but notice that you're doing quite well for yourself, rising through the ranks and all. It may not be official, but there is a project I've been working on. I wonder if perhaps you could assist with it.
Project? What project? By Akatosh, man, give me some more to go on.
Yes. No, I don't think so. Not at this point. It's just that, well, I'm not even really sure it's going to amount to anything just yet. All theoretical right now, you understand? But the implications are quite intriguing, I think. I simply need some experimental results to confirm my suspicions. Just bring me some Dwemer cogs. I need to examine them for the methods used in forging them. 10 of them should be enough for me to get a better understanding of how they were crafted. That's all I need, all right?
So a project that nobody can know about, that requires dwarven cogs, but everyone will understand the significance of at the end of it. How intriguing. It clearly points to something related to the Dwemer, but then again, dwarven cogs are still just that. Cogs. Maybe Arniel is experimenting with something mechanical. The first thing that springs to mind when thinking of dwarves and mechanics, for me at least, is the Numidium, but that's something I'll cover in more detail in my video on the Dwemer. Right now, we just don't know enough. Let's gather those cogs and return to Arniel. Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm working on some very important research, I assure you.
Yes, I know you are, but here, I got those cogs for you.
Ah, that's excellent news. This will be most helpful in furthering my research. I'm afraid I can't offer you much right now, but please take this. And perhaps, if this is all successful... Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's too early to be getting excited. Still, this is most encouraging. Thank you again. If I require anything else, I shall be sure and let you know.
Very perplexing indeed. So 10 dwarven cogs, it seems like the prognosis is a good one, a positive step into this mysterious research. Although I can't help but feel like maybe this is a bad idea. Arniel doesn't seem very stable in a mental sense. I mean, sure, he's clearly intelligent enough to know how to use mechanical parts forged by a long-extinct race of elves, but the people who developed atomic weapons in our world were intelligent, and those proved to be some of the most brutal and destructive creations man has ever made. What if a mentally unstable Arniel Gane is trying to recreate the Numidium, and we've just given him the tools to do so? Dagoth wasn't exactly all there either, and fans of the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind know exactly how that ended. Could Arniel Gane be on a similar path? But we just don't know. That's the truth at this moment. As things stand, we just do not know enough about this project, and I highly doubt even the college would allow Arniel to create a third incarnation of the Numidium. That said, there's also really nowhere in the college he can even begin to hide the components necessary to construct one. Maybe in the Midden, but there's nothing down there, so we're forced to shelve that idea for now. Let's check back in with Arniel and see if we can help him anymore. Do you need any more help with that project, Arniel?
As a matter of fact, there is something you can do for me. I had retained Enther's services in, acquiring something specific. But now he's refusing to deliver. Could you perhaps speak with him and see if we can come to some sort of arrangement?
Arrangement? Strange. Let's have a chat with Enther and see what he knows about this.
Let me give you a bit of advice. You want to work on something that's not officially allowed? Don't tell anyone you're doing it. You need something you're not officially supposed to have? You come see me. You tell anyone that I told you, and I'll fry you from the inside out. Got it? Huh? Good. Even with the college's laid-back attitude, there are still some things that are off limits.
Right. Anyway, I understand you have something of Arniel's?
Oh dear. He's so afraid to talk to me, he's sending you to do it? I should have expected as much. I'm afraid you've been a little misinformed. I have something of mine that I was going to sell to Arniel. You think you can do what he can't, and I'll sell it to you. Then you're free to run off to him with it if you like. I have a friend, let's say, who's interested in a staff. A particular one. It's nothing dangerous, so don't worry. I'm not even sure why he wants it, but then that's not really my concern. He's willing to pay for it. The problem is that it'll be a little difficult to acquire, seeing as how it's in the hands of someone who isn't exactly friendly. So you bring that staff back here, and I'll consider it payment for the item Arniel was after.
Yet another fetch quest element. Brilliant. But we need this staff to get whatever it is that Mr. Gane wants, and I am curious, so let's head off. Ingvild. Brilliant. The home of Arondil. I won't be disclosing details relating to the perverse nature of this wretched elf. For that, check out Camelwork's video about him. I've linked both Camel's channel and the video itself in the description below. But traversing through the dungeon and skillessly sniping the monster dead, we can retrieve from his corpse the Staff of Tandil, which will stop creatures and people up to level 12 from attacking for 60 seconds. It's basically a calm spell for those who don't have the magicka to cast it. Never mind though, we can't keep it. We have to hurry back to Enthir and trade it for whatever it is that Arniel was after.
Even with the college's laid-back attitude, there are still some things that are off limits.
Hello there, Enthir. That's good to know. Here's that staff you ordered. Sorry, I couldn't get all of the ectoplasm off of it, so it might be a touch sticky.
Well. All right, you delivered on your end, so I'll deliver on mine. Here's the gem Arniel was after. Can't imagine what he expects to do with that. It's warped beyond any ability to capture a soul.
The mystery deepens. So that object that Arniel was so desperate to get his grubby little mitts on was a soul gem? A regular old soul gem? No, a warped soul gem. To quote Enthir, warped beyond any ability to capture a soul. Why would Arniel want a soul gem that cannot do the one thing a soul gem is designed to do? Capture a soul. I mean, the clue is literally right there in the name. Soul gem. A gem for holding souls. What is the point of a soul gem that has no purpose? How does this relate to the experiment Arniel is running? If, and only if, Arniel is trying to recreate the Numidium, then what purpose does this gem hold? The original Numidium was powered by the Heart of Lorcan, the Tower Stone of Red Mountain, an Adric artifact of immense and unspeakable power. Does Arniel really believe this gem could even come close to replicating power, even 1/1000th of that contained by the heart? It just doesn't seem to add up to me. Maybe Arniel isn't rebuilding the Numidium then, but if he's not, then what is he doing? Why did he need those cogs? Why does he need this gem? More and more questions are being raised with each and every step, and we are no closer to a solution, an understanding, hell, even an inference than we were at the start. I suppose only one man can provide the answers. We need to give the gem to Arniel. Wakey, wakey, Mr. Gane.
I'm working on some very important research, I assure you.
I've got your soul gem here.
Do you? Wonderful. I was afraid I'd have to give up. And when I'm so close. Thank you for this. I have a great deal of work ahead of me.
Oh, nothing. Arniel is giving us nothing. And the worst part, this is where the story ends for now. We cannot progress further in Arniel's questline until much deeper into the college main quest. And by deeper, I of course mean the end of. However, once that whole fiasco is over, it's time to return to our good friend Arniel and see whether he needs another little bit of help. How's your project going?
Terrible, just terrible. I vastly underestimated the heat transfer necessary and have destroyed my only working model. I'm at a loss.
Heat transfer? Arniel, I have absolutely no idea what you're on about.
Look, it's all very simple. The Dwemer, they were masters of magic in a way we can't even begin to conceive of. Their greatest achievement, however, has also been their greatest, shall we say, mystery.
Dwemer? Haven't they been gone a long time now?
Precisely. What could be worth studying about a long-lost civilization? Their disappearance, of course. Instant, unexplainable. The stories have fascinated me. Ever since I was young, I wanted to know what really happened. After years and years of work, I'm closing in on a way to investigate what happened through experimentation. Only now, well, it's simply a disaster.
Their disappearance, that makes so much sense. But what went wrong?
Without boring you with the details, I'm attempting to recreate the circumstances of the event. The dwarves were very clever, tapping into and drawing power from the heart of Lorcan itself. Lacking the heart of a dead god myself, I was attempting to substitute a rather specific soul gem, the one you helped me acquire.
And that won't work.
Well, yes, I mean, no. That is, it might, but I'm not completely sure. I'm no tonal architect. I've only read their writings, scraps, really. The soul gem by itself isn't enough, you see. It needs to be altered, purified. The dwarves had machines for this sort of thing. I've attempted to build my own, based on designs and using parts you helped to provide. My very own dwarven convector. It worked, but not fully, and the device was destroyed in the process.
Materials? Oh, you mean the cogs. Can't you just build another one?
No! I'm too close now. Can't take the time. Though, perhaps there's another option. I may require further assistance from you.
What exactly do I get out of this?
Well, don't you see? Unlocking this mystery. The story alone is worth more riches than you can even imagine. And perhaps, well, I don't wish to speculate, but what if we could contact the dwarves? What if they're still out there? Imagine.
What do you want me to do?
Well, yes. The designs for my convector were based on real dwarven machines, so there may still be some in existence. I'd go looking myself, but yes, there are calculations to double and triple check. Many calculations. Perhaps you could seek out these convectors in Skyrim ruins. I could even teach you the spell to heat them. It's very particular and very important.
I suppose being a name in the annals of history appeals to me. Fine, Gane. Teach me your spell.
Wonderful. Just wonderful. I knew I could count on you. Now, this spell is not for defending yourself, but it's just right for heating the convector. At least 3 seconds burn is necessary. Just place the soul gem inside and heat the convector. At least 3 seconds. You'll almost certainly need to find multiple convectors. I suspect it may be due to the nature of the soul gem versus the crystals this was intended for. Destroys the equipment in the process. But, it's effective. 3 times, and the crystal should be ready for the next step. Isn't this exciting? All right, then.
Oh, sweet Mara above. Finally, things all make sense. Arniel isn't rebuilding the new medium, he used the cogs to build his own dwarven convector. Oh, I would hedge my bets on being right on one count though. To me at least, it does seem as though Arniel intends to use this warped soul gem to act as sort of a proxy for the heart of Lorcan. He's trying to recreate the conditions that led to their disappearance. An interesting idea for sure, and thanks to the entirely useless spell he taught us, we're off to be the guinea pigs sent out to alter a soul gem in these convector machines. Fun times. Off we go then, to deal with these convectors. 1, 2, and 3. With that, we should return to Arniel. Hey buddy, guess who's got that gem of yours?
It worked then. Let me see. Goodness, that's it, isn't it? Yes, it's not perfect. It's a close enough approximation that it should certainly suffice for initial tests. You've done excellent work here. Truly excellent. There's only one thing missing now, and that should be arriving shortly. I'll begin preparations. Thank you again so much for this.
That was a strangely ominous set of dialogue, and I won't lie, I'm suddenly pretty nervous. The warped gem isn't perfect, but will suffice for testing. This isn't some sort of knock-it-together Mentos in the Coke kind of experiment, Arniel. You're experimenting with things beyond your control. The disappearance of the Dwemer was surrounded by mystery, by intrigue and technology the likes of which Tamriel hasn't seen since and may never see again. Anything less than perfect is a major, major risk. And that line about the next thing coming soon? I have a strong idea of what this is going to be, and anyone who's played Morrowind probably does too. But the only way to confirm my suspicion is to wait a while and go back to Mr. Gane.
May the ground you walk quake as you pass.
Cool, Arniel, at least buy me dinner first, you old flirt, you. Let's stick to the topic, shall we? Have you unravelled the mystery of the dwarves yet?
No, and at this rate, I never shall. Enther is once again holding out on me. He refuses to deliver yet another item absolutely essential to my work. I am close, so close. You must force him to see reason.
Enther again? What should I say to the crafty little elf?
I don't know. I've already agreed to pay him quite handsomely for the item in question. Just do whatever it takes to get him to stop lording this over me.
These two fight like an old married couple.
All right, then.
Enther, what do you have to say for yourself?
The Archmage triumphant. The college, Skyrim, all of Tamriel owes you a great debt. I'm quite pleased that we're back to business as usual.
I hear you're holding out on Arniel again.
Oh, by the divines, you too? I've already told him I don't have it.
Oh, for the divine sake, what payment do you want this time?
Nothing at all. Arniel already overpaid for whatever it is. You're not listening to me. I don't have it. I set up the whole deal. A courier was supposed to be bringing it from Morrowind. He never arrived. Okay? The deal was already done. The thing just never showed up. I can't help that.
Morrowind, I knew it. Where is this damn courier?
I don't know. Are you not listening at all? It was a simple task, so I didn't keep close tabs on it, like I do with the dangerous stuff. Last I'd heard, he was crossing the border from Morrowind into the Rift. If you're getting involved in this, that would be where you'd start looking. Why is this suddenly so important, anyway?
Ooh, one more thing. What is it that Arniel wanted you to get?
I don't know. He never told me. He made most of the arrangements himself. He just needed it transported from Morrowind. That's what I agreed to help with. If I'd known it was so important to him, I'd have charged him more.
I bet you any money you
Till
like
next
I'm
time.
off to find a courier holding 1, 2, or 3 items. 3 if Arniel knows what he's doing, but he did call this initial tests, so who really knows what to expect? Enther mentioned the courier was coming into the Rift, but this is one of those go to X Radiant location quests. In this case, Broken Helm Hollow, right on the border with the Rift and Morrowind. The courier clearly didn't get far. On entry, we find the courier dead. On his body is the dagger known as Keening. I'll come back and talk about Keening in a little bit more detail later, but right now we need to return this dagger to Arniel and finally complete his questline. Arniel, mate, this is the last time. I'm here and I got that dagger you wanted.
The dagger? Duh! By Akatosh, they didn't even wrap it correctly. You didn't touch it, did you? Well, no. Of course you must have. Did you attempt to wield it? And you're not dead? Gods, it's a wonder it's in one piece.
I'm gonna need some background. What's the big deal with this dagger, by the way?
This is not just a dagger. This is a dwarven artifact beyond nearly all value. A singular instrument of immense power. A tool of impossible import. Keening and its counterpart Sunder. used by the tonal architects of the Dwemer to tap into the heart of Lorcan.
The heart of Lorcan, gods above. So, you have everything you need now?
I do. I do indeed. Keening, one of the great tools of Kagranak himself, is finally in my possession. I don't think I really believed this day would come.
I think I know where this is going, and I don't like it, Arniel. But what happens next?
Now we see whether my theories are correct. I apologize if I have not been clear about my work. I didn't want to discuss it for fear this moment might never come. Everyone knows the dwarves disappeared. No one knows why. This little experiment is a first step in recreating the events of their disappearance in an effort to unravel that mystery. Lacking the heart of a dead god, I'm substituting the crystal we helped craft in its place. I also lack Sunder, the counterpart to the dagger Keening. I am reasonably confident, however, that this will still work. I certainly don't expect it to have quite the same results. I'm no tonal architect, of course. Well, I suppose it's time, isn't it? Let's see what happens. You may want to stand back a step or two. But please, don't leave. You've been instrumental in this process. I'd like you to see the results firsthand. Right then. That didn't really do anything, did it? Perhaps a little harder. I don't understand. This should produce some notable effect. Work, damn you!
Oh, Arniel, what have you done? On the surface, that's it. Arniel's endeavour is over, Arniel Gane is gone, and the player gets both a swanky new conjuration spell and a beautiful little dagger named Keening. But what actually happened to Arniel Gane? What did his experiment do? How did it happen? What actually occurred when Arniel disappeared? See? There's more questions than answers, just as I said there would be. In order to answer those questions, we need to pick apart exactly what happened. So let's tackle the events in chronological order. Starting with the cogs, they're the easiest thing to explain. Arniel Gane used the 10 dwarven cogs we supplied, along with a blueprint of some description, I assume, to create his own dwarven convector. I'm sure it was a very good approximation, if not identical, and on that basis, I'm pretty sure he used the spell he taught us to attempt to restore the warped soul gem in it. Unfortunately for Arniel, when the Dwemer are involved, it's often true that nothing short of the real thing will suffice. To be fair, that entire sentence could essentially be the motto for this questline. Unfortunately for Arniel, when the Dwemer are involved, it's often true that nothing short of the real thing will suffice. Has a nice ring of truth to it, doesn't it? Same could be said for the warped soul gem, the focal point of this experiment. Warped beyond all ability to capture a soul, an essentially useless lump of crystal. What would Arniel want with a thing like that? Well, as we saw, he attempted to restore the soul gem using the dwarven convector he made and subsequently broke, sending us as the player to run around Skyrim in search of legitimate dwarven convectors. When we found them, we fried the gem 3 times in those legitimate convectors. Make a note of this, it'll be somewhat important later on. Finally, there's Keening, the dagger Arniel overpaid for, according to Enthir. Overpaid. For a priceless artifact, the dagger that played a vital role in the Nerevarine stopping Dagoth and the Numidium. How exactly does someone overpay for something of such historic value, an artifact of such immense power? And why, if Arniel truly believed he was obtaining the real thing, would he even consider A, wielding it without the use of Wraithguard, and B, think it would be able to work without its counterpart Sunder? So, what does it all mean? Where is the thread that ties all of this together? What can truly provide an explanation for what happened to Arniel Gane? Well, so far, we don't have one. We're missing something. One final piece of the puzzle, the piece that helps us put the whole picture together. Let's review the events and see if it sticks out. He first requested 10 dwarven cogs from us, cogs that he used to build a homemade dwarven convector, not a third medium as I once feared. Following that, we were sent on a wild goose chase to find a perverted necromancer who stole a staff to trade to an elf for a soul gem that serves no purpose, warped beyond repair. Except it wasn't, because Arniel knew what was needed, his convection spell and 3 legitimate converters. With that, the gem was ready and we were sent to retrieve one final item, the legendary Dwemer artifact known as Keening, taken from the corpse of a deceased courier. With that, Arniel had everything he needed, struck the soul gem with Keening 3 times, at which point he disappeared and we gained a new spell and the dagger itself. All of which I've covered, so what is missing? Wait, hang on, the spell! When Arniel disappeared and the quest completed, we gained a new spell! A new conjuration spell at that. Summon Arniel's Shade. That's it, Arniel's Shade. It's the missing link. Summon Arniel's Shade is an apprentice level conjuration spell that, unlike most conjuration spells, especially those at this level, require 2 hands to cast. Now, why does that stand out? Because this spell does something very special compared to most other spells of this school. If I'm right, that is. Casting the spell summons a shade of Arniel Gane, a ghostly white figure in the shape of Arniel, who doesn't speak and uses destruction magic in combat. This ghostly figure, this abnormal spell, it is the puzzle piece I was searching for, and I now have a theory as to exactly what happened to Arniel Gane, and more importantly, why it happened. Allow me to paint you a picture. This whole thing started with Arniel's homemade convector. He was smart enough to use the right materials, being Dwemer in nature, including those cogs. Once built, he sought the item he was searching for the whole time, the warped soul gem, which he commissioned Enthir to source for him. Having gotten his hands on that juicy little gem, courtesy of yours truly, he set himself to work testing it. Using his convection spell, Arniel heated the gem inside his own contraption for the required 3 seconds. But he made a miscalculation. He broke his convector and set himself back to square one. But what if, in using the fake convector, he damaged the gem in some way? What if, in trying it poorly, he pushed some form of imperfection onto the already warped soul gem? One that, say, didn't show up because of a pre-existing deformity to the gem? If that happened, and the player character cooked the gem in 3 more convectors for 3 seconds apiece, and during that process it set the imperfection into the gem, then it's tainted, it's broken. Even if it restores its ability to capture a soul and hold a soul, maybe it only now has the ability to capture part of a soul. What do soul gems do? They trap a soul, and that soul can be used to recharge magical weapon enchantment charges. So, what happens to the soul when it's used? The answer's quite simple. It goes to the soul cairn. A realm of oblivion where no life can survive, where only the ideal masters have any form of control. In Skyrim's Dawnguard DLC, it's a location we can actually visit, and in this realm, we can meet an ideal master. The form these incorporeal entities choose to take, even within their own realm, is that of a soul gem. Well, there's a fun little coincidence, wouldn't you say? No, I wouldn't say. If the ideal masters have some sort of innate connection to the soul gems themselves, a connection that allows them to tap into the very essence of the gem and siphon the soul when used, it does beg the question that maybe they have that connection to the gems themselves without them being filled. And what if, by some miracle, the Dwemer found a way to sever the connection between those gems and the ideal masters? Hell, even if they didn't know it, they had the means to do it. Consider if Arniel Gane stumbled across the right way to do it, but he didn't manage to hone the process. He got it wrong the first time of trying when he used his fake convector. Now, if a soul is trapped in the gem and sent to the appropriate Oblivion plane, the soul cairn, when properly functioning, what would happen to a soul that was trapped in a damaged gem? Could it get sent to a different plane of Oblivion? Which brings me back to the Shade. To summon Arniel's Shade, the Conjuration School of Magic is used, including, and most importantly, the exact same summoning animation as other conjuration spells. What this tells me is that Arniel's Shade is coming from the same location, or approximate location, as the others. Where do the Dremora, the Atronak, and other spirits summoned come from when you cast a summoning spell? The Planes of Oblivion. Don't ask me which ones, I don't know, and nor does it particularly matter for the purposes of this video. The key ingredient is Oblivion. Arniel's Shade, using the same animation as the other conjuration spells, suggests quite strongly, if you ask me, that he's being summoned from the same place, from Oblivion. What does this have to do with Arniel's experiment? The one where he was looking to recreate the disappearance of the dwarves, the one that occurred instantaneously? Well, there's a little fella in Skyrim called Phalion who claims to have met the Dwemer.
I know many things. I've studied things beyond the reach of most humans. Traveled the Oblivion planes, seen things one should not see. I have met Daedra, and Dwemer, and everything in between, and I know enough to see a vampire where others would see a man.
See? This man claims to have met a Dwemer while travelling the Oblivion planes. I won't say more, I'll save the details for how this might be possible in the later video exploring the Dwemer, but I'm hoping that most of you can already see the link I'm getting at. The only piece left to fit in is keening. Anyone who played Morrowind knows the importance of the dagger keening, knows how powerful an item it truly is, knows that it shouldn't have an effect like the one it does in Skyrim. Granted, yes, before the completion of the quest, keening does hold an effect called Mortal Wound, which lowers the health, stamina and magicka of the wielder by 5 points when equipped, but it doesn't actively harm the user when wielded without the use of Wraithguard. What does this mean? To me, it means that keening, the one shown in Skyrim, might just be a fake. Think about it. Enthys said Arniel overpaid for the dagger, the priceless, historical, immensely powerful dagger. He had it run from Morrowind to Skyrim by courier, your average bog standard courier, carrying one of, if not the most powerful blades in Tamrielic lore. It just doesn't add up to me. So, if this keening is a fake, what does it mean for the experiment? My theory is relatively simple. Arniel Gane was a negligent scientist. Negligent on multiple fronts, and I posit that this negligence is solely responsible for the events that occurred in Skyrim. I also posit that Arniel Gane is the closest we will ever come to seeing someone replicate the disappearance of the dwarves. in my opinion, he was a genius, a narrow-minded and foolish genius. He failed to take into account the motto of this questline, that unfortunately when the Dwemer are involved, it's often true that nothing short of the real thing will suffice. Arniel said it himself that the warped soul gem wasn't perfect, but he thought it would do for his experiment. The major mistake was thinking that he could replace the heart of a god, the heart of Lorcan and all of its immense power, with a simple soul gem, however warped it had become. Failing to take into account even the surface level differences in power between those two is just the beginning of his negligence. After all, even a high school level science student knows that planning for variables and the effects they're going to have is the first thing you should do. In this case, the damaged soul gem, the fake keening, the lack of sunder, the issues encountered with restoring the soul gem, all of them, all of the variables, they were just too many to be ignored, but that didn't stop Arniel from striking the gem and vanishing in a flash. What happened when Arniel struck the gem with keening? Well, I think on the third strike, Arniel Gane's soul fused with the gem. That violent blue aura we see at the moment of impact? Well, I took a look in the creation kit files, and as far as I can tell, it's an effect called AAA Grant in Light Hurt Bounce. It isn't a unique effect from what I can tell. According to the files, it's used 4 other times in the game. I'll be damned if I can find out where else, and in truth, I don't think it matters. I don't think this effect will be helpful in deducing what happened here like I once did. What's important is that Arniel disappeared. Like the dwarves, completely wiped off the face of the planet. But where did his soul go? Into the soul gem? Into the weapon? Straight into oblivion? What if I told you that I think it's all 3 at the exact same time? Fans of the Harry Potter universe may be aware of a little thing known as a Horcrux. In that universe, a Horcrux is an object in which a wizard splits their soul into in an attempt to live forever. It's my suggestion that the exact same thing happened to Arniel in Skyrim. I think he inadvertently split his soul into 3. The first part I deduce went straight into oblivion, straight into an unknown, unnamed plane. From here, I think that's where we draw Arniel's shade from. A physical manifestation of the entity that used to be Arniel Gane, forever destined to reside in his humanoid form. His physical manifestation was sent to oblivion. The second, I believe, was siphoned directly into keening. Whether this is the real keening or an imitation keening, it doesn't matter. Whatever this one is, had a part of Arniel Gane in it. Or I suppose it has, depending on your engagement with the weapon. The dagger we receive in game has an enchantment that absorbs 10 points of health, magicka and stamina from the target, but it has a catch. It cannot be recharged using a filled soul gem. On top of that, it's a one-shot enchantment. You get 1 strike on 1 enemy and the enchantment is empty forever. Each enchanted weapon gains its charge by using filled soul gems, so where did this keening get its one and only charge? You guessed it. If I'm right, it's a part of Arniel's soul. A part because, as we all know from experience, if you use the entirety of a soul trapped in a soul gem, you gain a lot more, granted sometimes not many more, but you do get more than 1 strike before most enchanted weapons run out of juice. But with keening, you only get that 1 strike. So, if my theory is correct, then if you as the player character pick up and use keening after the quest, you've probably just condemned Arniel to being without a part of his soul for eternity. I can't be sure what part of the soul is condemned to being trapped within Keening or lost forever, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's the part that allows an individual to conduct magicka, to harness the magical energies present within Tamriel. The only reason I say that is the fact that Keening's enchantment is an absorb enchantment and takes the essence of its target, although even I can admit that's flimsy evidence at best. Although I don't know what part of the soul, I am fairly confident in saying that at least some part of it has been siphoned into Keening, specifically due to that one shot enchantment, that one strike before the weapon is empty forever. Finally, there's the part of the soul that contains the energy, the essence, the presence of a person. The part of the soul that may linger after the body has long since decayed and vanished. I think this is the part what remained in the warped soul gem as a result of the imperfections set into it by us, the player, after it had been tinkered with by Arniel. The natural progression of souls into soul gems, sure, that was there, but this one was different. The player may have restored its ability to capture a soul, but I think only in part. I think one of us, either the player or Arniel, damaged the gem's innate connection to the ideal masters. If that's true, then the gem would surely be unable to lend its soul to recharging a weapon, unable to send whatever fragment it contains to the soul can. And wouldn't you know it, the warped soul gem cannot be filled or used regardless of the status of Arniel's endeavour. But why do I think Arniel's presence, his essence, was transferred into the warped soul gem? That kicker comes from the console. Specifically, the player.move2 command. This command does exactly what it says on the tin. You input the character ID of an NPC in Skyrim and you're teleported directly to that NPC. Using this command after the disappearance of Arniel, using Arniel's character ID, transports you directly in front of and facing the warped soul gem. Arniel's presence, as far as the game is concerned, is the warped soul gem. Need I say more? Well, there you have it. What do I think happened to Arniel Gane? I think he came damn near close to replicating the disappearance of the Dwemer, but fell just a touch short. I think he neglected the fundamentals of scientific experiments and paid the price for it by splitting his soul into 3 different places. But that's just my theory, the results of my investigation. Skyrim does a fantastic job of leaving most interpretations open, results unclear. Leave your own comments, thoughts and opinions on what happened to Arniel Gane in the comments below. Skyrim truly lives up to the mantle of an open world game and has done for the past 11 years now. In terms of video game years, 11 is absolutely ancient, and the best thing about it is that I think we'll see Skyrim still having an active community in 11 more. So that's my first investigation. A fitting way to celebrate the 11th birthday of the game first released on the 11th of the 11th in 2011. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do leave a comment, a like and share with your friends. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and please do join me again next week for the second part of this 11-part series. I look forward to seeing all of you, and hopefully some more, in the next one.